Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of the Daily Aztec Sports Talk. I'm Pat.
And I'm Matt. Now, before we go preview this Friday's game against New Mexico for SDSU Football, let's tie up one loose end with last Friday's game against Fresno State. Today at the SDSU press conference, head coach Rocky Long said that the Mountain West Conference admitted to him after the game that there were 10 blown calls. Now, he didn't specify which team the calls were against, but he did say that more calls did go against SDSU. Now on Twitter, I'm sure all of you saw, there were a lot of SDSU fans not happy about the calls, specifically running into the punter call. So Patrick, did the Aztecs lose because of blown calls or because of other factors?
They lost because of the team that they played against. Fresno State was, in my eyes, a better team than San Diego State. You can argue all you want about blown calls having an effect on the game. I don't really think that 10 blown calls, and however many were for SDSU, even if it was 6 or 7, I don't think that erases an 11-point deficit. In fact, I'm sure it doesn't. So I got to say that, throwing a true freshman quarterback, Nick Bowden, into the fire, his first collegiate start, that obviously had a lot to do with it. But the penalties, blown calls, no. What about you?
Yeah, no, it was the Fresno State run defense. Nick Bowden, like you said, a lot of jitters in his freshman start. His wide receivers didn't help him that much either. There were a lot of dropped passes. But Fresno State knew the Aztecs were going to have to focus on the run. The Fresno State defense keyed in on the run, and they did it really well. They held Donnell Pumphrey to just 94 yards, and that may sound like a lot, but he only averaged about 3.5 a carry.
Yeah.
When he's averaging over 6 during the year, that's when you know you're doing an efficient job. Fresno State outcoached, outplayed, outdid the Aztecs, and that's why they won.
And so now we're going to move on to Friday's game at New Mexico. San Diego State and New Mexico go in with a 2-3 record. Both teams have not won in the conference this year yet.
SDSU has
SDSU
one win
actually has, my
against
bad. But interesting game here. New Mexico is a very interesting team to watch, shall we say.
Yes, very, very interesting. They run what's called a triple option. And that's not that easy to defend because you can never really chase after a ball carrier because there's 3 different options, thus the triple option. So it really becomes what's called assignment football, where you just need to do what you're assigned to do and trust your teammates that they'll do it, and hopefully you stop the running back. That being said, I also look at the New Mexico rush defense, which is 3rd worst in the country. And I think SDSU's running tandem is pretty darn good. Didn't look too good against Fresno, but against the New Mexico defense, they'll look much better. So it's going to be a high-scoring affair. It's going to be much closer than most fans would want, but I do think SDSU will come out on top in Albuquerque. Patrick?
I'm going to have to agree with you. I think it'll be close. One thing I think will be a factor is the elevation change. Because here's San Diego. It's at sea level. Albuquerque is obviously over 5,000 feet elevation. I think there's going to be a lot of instances where the Aztecs are kind of really gasping for breath. And if they can get into halftime tied or even with a small lead or within striking distance, they have a really good shot. But like you said, the running tandem of Donnell Pumphrey and Chase Price, I think, should work wonders against the New Mexico defense. And plus, Nick Bowden's had another start. We'll have another start under his belt. He's going to get the nod on Friday. And so I think he knows a lot more of what not to do now after learning that against Fresno State. So I'm going to say Aztecs in a close one.
All right.
And, of course, now it's time for the Rock 'em Sock 'em Robots. And maybe you'll win this time?
Maybe.
Bye, guys.